All right. Good afternoon, everyone. It is a gloomy day here in Boston. We got the first snowfall of the season. Hopefully, you folks are out and the rest of the country not dealing with it. My name is Evan Schlem. I'm a manager in knowledge management here at Cayenne and Capital Bank Card. Today, we're going to be going over what I call getting started as an agent. It's basically all the different little tips and tricks that you as a new agent want to definitely get familiar with, have a good understanding of, because it's really what's going to be useful to you to help get your feet wet as you embark on your new opportunity with Capital Bank Card. With these go-tos, feel free, any questions you guys have at all, and I definitely encourage as many questions you guys have, please feel free. Post them into the bottom of the go-to. Sometimes I'll try to address them throughout the slideshow. Other times we'll address them at the end. Either way, we'll definitely get to all of your questions, but please feel free to go ahead and post them as you have them. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. First thing I definitely want to go over, as a new agent, start with your existing network. Start with your family and friends. Get your feet wet and hear what business owners' pain points are. Your friends and family, they're a lot more likely to be patient with you as you learn the industry. It's going to help you work on what questions you ask, how you ask them, things like that. So be sure to let everyone in your circle know about your new business partnership. If they own a business, great. Talk to them about their pricing, their processing. See who they're with. See what made them choose that company. See how things are going, if they've had any issues, what things they like about them, what things they don't. It's just a hands-on way for you to really learn extra things about the industry just by talking to people that already own businesses. If they don't own businesses, ask them to help you by mentioning your new venture to places where they work at, shop, and purchase goods. Use them as a tool. Obviously, your family, they want you to succeed. So do your friends. Use them as a resource to go out there and really kind of prospect for you and get your name out there on top of you doing that as well. Next thing, prospect where you spend money. You spend money on a daily basis within your community. These merchants will see you as a fellow local business owner and will more likely give you the opportunity to earn their business. Take advantage of the relationships you've already made. You'll get some eye rolls or pushback, but business owners are more likely to do business with someone they know. Once you get them interested in working with you, use your resources at Capital Bank Card to help you price out accounts and provide suggestions on the best solution options for that specific merchant. We don't expect you to be an expert right away. Use us as a tool. Some examples as to where you should be bringing this up. Local dry cleaners and tailors, restaurants, bars, coffee shops. Now keep in mind, you're very new to the industry. You're very new to doing this type of work. Don't go after that restaurant that is always crowded, is always busy. You're probably not going to really have the tools yet to know how to pitch that type of merchant. But if it's a new restaurant, or even if it's a busy one, but you have a relationship with the owner or the general manager, that's certainly fine. But keep in mind, you're not going to be going after these huge, large restaurants or the largest restaurant or business in town. You're really going to want to start with those small, medium-sized businesses. Those are going to be your bread and butter. And we're actually going to go over that in a little bit. Other great ones, mechanics, plumbers, electricians. These are people that sometimes don't always take cards, or a lot of them, they're using something like Square, which we have a lot of ways to help you pitch around Square and show the value of having a true merchant account. Doctors, dentists, veterinarians, those are always ones that are really hard to get a decision maker on the line with, because a lot of times it's an office secretary or someone like that answering the phone, and a lot of times they don't really have anything to do with processing. If you've been going to the same doctor or dentist for over a decade and you have a relationship with them, casually mention it. They'll either put you in touch with the manager that handles it and you'll have an in with them, or they're the decision maker and they handle it, and now you obviously have a good way to get going. And then lastly, you have retailers, florists, liquor stores, all places that you frequent on a regular basis, not necessarily the liquor store, but retailers, florists, places like that. Get in there, have business cards handy, let them know what your new business is. They're certainly going to be more inept to wanting to speak with you. Social media. This is obvious, but still a very important topic to discuss. You should not expect to build your pipeline only through social media, but but it will still have positive impact. The more people you can reach out to, the better. Leverage the connections you have already made. Offer incentives for your merchants through social media. Write reviews for merchants and share their posts. Keep it one big circle. If you have a merchant you've already signed up, write about it on your social media. Advertise for them. That merchant's going to appreciate it. They're then in turn going to refer business over to you. If you're social media savvy, help them improve their social media presence. Yes, it's extra work for you to put in, but that's going to drive more business to that merchant, which obviously leads to more volume, which then leads to more revenue for them. Additionally, you should use social media to promote your merchants like we were just talking about. Sending more clients to your customers, again, it generates more business for them. Also, share industry news, post updates, articles, things like that that you receive from us on a weekly basis to your social media site. That's just going to show that you're in tune with the industry and you're trying to educate and be consultative with these other businesses. Offer referral dollars. Throw out a promotion on your social media. Hey, first 10 people reach out to me, I'll do what I can to give you a free terminal or anything along those lines. Starting a weekly or monthly or however often you want newsletter, great option. Send it to your merchants on a regular basis. You can post industry news. Again, advertise your merchants to other merchants. Offer to publish a coupon in the newsletter to help drive business to your portfolio. And then also post value-added services to help create a stickier portfolio with more revenue. What we mean by that, gift cards, loyalty cards, cash advances, check processing. All of these are tools that you have to pitch to your merchants. Post them in this newsletter. The more merchants you have reading it, the more likely you are to get these merchants inquiring about it. It's just extra revenue and bonus money for you. Networking. Networking is the key to the game for you as an agent. Join your local Chamber of Commerce and attend all the events. Chamber events are an excellent networking opportunity. Attendees see it as a networking opportunity, so they are more apt to hearing about your services and what you do. There's a significant return on investment here. $300 for an annual membership fee is worth it, even if you just get 2 or 3 deals a year from these merchants. That's a pretty bare minimum. They're only getting 2 or 3 merchants. Think about it this way. You might make, and obviously these are just round numbers, don't hold me to it, but you can make $30, $40 per merchant, times that by 12. Next thing you know, you're in the hundreds of dollars per year that you're making off one merchant. All you're paying is a $300 annual fee. You're probably going to pay that off with half a year of one merchant, let alone 2, 3, or any more that you can do. So paying those annual dues or membership fees, 100% worth it. Small business associations and business networking groups. Most communities have several associations or groups, and all have monthly or weekly networking opportunities. Take a consultative approach by letting other members know that you are trying to help local businesses reduce their costs. These organizations are founded on the principle that members will help other members and give business to other members. Take advantage of that premise. The costs to join are minimal and should be made back after 1 or 2 accounts are in your portfolio. Business Network International. A lot of our current agents are members of BNI, and they have rave reviews about the success that they've had through it. So definitely a great one that right from the horse's mouth, your peers, other agents that work with us, they have a lot of great feedback on the BNI. After you meet prospective clients at the local Chamber of Commerce or SBA functions and collected their business cards, email them the following day, letting them know it's nice to meet them and learn about their business. You might also want to offer them some more information on what you do. Perhaps offer them a free webinar or newsletter on saving money on your credit card processing, or let them know about a webinar we have called Understanding Costs to Accept Credit Cards. Offering special pricing for other members is also a great way to generate business and increase loyalty. Lastly, when you go through the certification process with Capital Bank Card, we send you free business cards. Make sure you always have a good amount on you at all times to hand out to prospective merchants. It's just a much more professional approach. I know a lot of people nowadays, it's like, oh, hey, just whip out your cell phone and put the number in there. Yeah, definitely do that if they offer it. But if you have business cards, it's just a next level professionalism to show to these possible merchants. spend money with other members and prospects. For example, if there's a mechanic in the association, you should be going to them for your next oil change instead of the big change. Mention you're a member of the association and use that as a way to turn the conversation into one about business. Always a good idea to offer special pricing for other members. Sometimes as simple as I never set up a member with a contract. Also, recommend your merchants to your network. Tell your friend who needs a CPA about your merchant who you set up that does it. Tell them to say you recommended them, and that merchant will remember that. They in turn will send your merchants both in the field as well as their network. So what I mean by that is you have a friend. Maybe they don't even own a business, but they say, hey, yeah, I need an accountant. Maybe last week, 2 weeks ago, a year ago, you actually did set up an accountant. Refer them over. Tell your friend, hey, here's this guy's number. Call them. Let them know I sent you over. The accountant, they're going to take notice of that. Then in turn, other accountants that they're peers with, they're going to recommend your services to them. And then also, maybe they go to a local mechanic and they're talking with their mechanic about needing to upgrade their processing or something like that. Next thing you know, that accountant is referring over a mechanic. And then obviously it spirals out from there in the best way possible. It's an easy way to network. All you did was refer a merchant you already signed up to your friend who needed an accountant. Simple as that. Use your portfolio to your advantage. Ties in what we were just talking about. Every business owner works with a number of different vendors and can refer you to at least 3 more merchants. As you build your portfolio, start thinking about rolling out an official referral program. Ask for introductions instead of referrals, meaning instead of saying, hey, is there anyone that you can refer me over to? Say, hey, by any chance, if you know any other ABC profession, feel free, send them my information, or, feel free, let me know if I can just have an introduction with them. I'd love to see what I can do to help them out. Also, offer them referral bonuses. By the way, if they do sign up, I'll give you X amount. And X amount is whatever you want it to be. If you want to offer a merchant $100 for every referral, that's entirely up to you. $50, $200. It's your money to spend however you see fit. A merchant who starts sending you 2 or 3 referrals a month, maybe you want to actually up it. Give them 150 instead of 100. You can get them to offer you 4 or 5 merchants. That merchant who only sends 1 every other month, maybe run a promotion and say, hey, over the next month, 2 months, I'm actually going to be offering $200 for any referral you send over. It's easy money to send out because you're going to make it back 10 times as much if and when you sign up those referees. Try talking to anyone who might be in contact with business owners, from a real estate agent who leases the stores out to the food delivery driver who's in the restaurants every day. Excuse me, sorry, I'm having a little computer issue there. Knowing your audience. So make sure you know your market. The credit card processing industry is about hitting singles, not home runs. Don't try and make the first client the biggest restaurant in town. It's okay to go after the smaller merchants who only make you a few dollars versus trying to go after the one huge merchant who you have a lesser chance of signing. Once you build your portfolio, then you can go after the bigger fish. That $3,000 in volume per month hairstylist might not make you a large residual amount every month, but there are plenty of benefits to signing them up. Experience, bonus opportunities, future opportunities, and of course referrals. So again, your bread and butter is small and mid-sized businesses where you can give them personalized service, better technology, and cost savings. Now on to cold calling tips. Although not a glamorous part of the industry, this is essential for new agents. Target industries that use credit cards the most. Your primary goal is to schedule a face-to-face appointment, so focus on setting that up. We have archived training that covers this in greater detail called Cold Calling Do's and Don'ts. And then lastly, you are going to have to make about 100 phone calls just to get 1 or 2 appointments. But that's definitely worth it, and that's going to be the name of the game, is just really hammering the phone, getting as many merchants on the phone as possible, and setting some appointments to further your conversation. Some other quick tips. Don't randomly dial. Call a certain industry in groups. For instance, call restaurants one day, retail stores another, mechanics on the third day. Their needs are unique, and getting in a rhythm with these calls is important. Also, know your merchant. Make sure not to call a sandwich place during lunch hour or a coffee shop in the morning. Know when their slow time is so that you can reach out to them at an appropriate time. It shows that you're in tune to their industry and that you are sympathetic to when they're busy versus when they're not. Try to point out as early in the call as possible that this is a local call and not someone across the country. As we've said, business owners are a lot more likely to do business with you if they know it's a local business. Some common sense tips for the field. Be enthusiastic. Be prepared. Know about the merchant. If you've walked past a retail store countless times over the last month and you see that they're always busy at a random time or day, use that to your knowledge that you aren't stalking them, but hey, you pass by every day. Maybe it's from your office. You pass by it to get lunch or coffee, at a certain time of day. Say, hey, I noticed you're always busy this time of day. How do you generate that kind of flow during this time? Anything along those lines that show that you are prepared is only going to help you seem that much more knowledgeable about the industry, but also them in general, and it's a much more personal appeal to these merchants. Create a powerful opening introduction. Use vivid words. Tell stories to make points clear, and then always the KISS principle. Keep it short and simple. Sell the whole package. There are a number of reasons why the merchant should want to work with you, and your job to tell them why, whether it's value-added services such as a cash advance, gift card program, e-check, our Wi-Fi products. Let the merchant know that you have all of these at your disposal that you can set them up with. Lower overall processing costs, customized pricing structures. I can't tell you how many times back in my selling days, which I was in sales for well over about 5.5 years here, that every merchant's like, oh, well, this company offered me this one rate. Well, you guys should know at this point, there is no such thing as one rate. Additionally, we have qualifying questions. It's a list of questions that we kind of train you to ask merchants so that you can actually customize a pricing structure for that business based upon what you understand. I always had the saying, in this industry, it's not just one rate, one fee. There's a lot of different variables that go into merchant account processing. The way we figure that out for our individual merchants is by asking them questions, having a better understanding so that we can customize a pricing structure for them. No long-term contract, unless you choose otherwise, but know that our guidelines say you do not need to lock a merchant into a contract. That is a huge, huge selling tool. It tells the merchant a couple things. One, you're willing to work with them, you want to be flexible, but it also tells them that you stand behind the support that you and our inside customer and technical support team are going to be able to offer them. So much so that we know we're going to offer the best support possible, because if we didn't and we didn't have a merchant in a contract, they're free to walk away at no penalty. Those processors, agents, ISOs, whoever it may be that do lock merchants into contracts, they're a lot more likely to raise rates, because if the merchant's not happy paying higher rates, then they have to pay a cancellation fee in order to leave. But it also means that they might not provide the best support for the same principle. If they're not happy with the support, then they've got to pay a cancellation fee. By not locking your merchant into a contract, it says those two things. One, means we're a lot less likely to raise their rates, and you do want to be very clear with that. No company ever can guarantee their rates, us included. But because of the fact that we don't have a cancellation fee, we're a lot less likely to raise it. And then again, not to be redundant, but it means we're a lot more likely to offer the best support possible. We can't transfer merchants around. We can't put them on hold or anything like that. Otherwise, again, they're free to cancel at no penalty. Ties in, obviously, to in-house tech support and client services. You're standing in their store, not sitting in a call center overseas. Shows them how personal we want to get with their merchant account. And you, of course, have access to all the best equipment and processing solutions at the lowest cost. Now let's talk about overcoming objections. Listen to their objections. Really listen. Don't just nod and shake your head. Repeat it back to them. Acknowledge their objection so that you're showing the merchant you did listen to what their question is. Then answer the objection. Confirm it, which you can do feel, felt, found method, I completely understand how you feel. Actually, a lot of merchants have felt, sorry, I don't know why that did that, have felt the same way. What we found is that, and then you can go into whatever the solution is to that objection. Don't be overly aggressive. A lot of these merchants, you might be just walking in the door to them. Even if you maybe made an appointment over the phone, they probably got about 10 different phone calls that day. Don't be overly aggressive. If you show patience, it shows that you're not desperate. You're willing to wait it out and really sell this merchant into working with you. That's how confident you are in what you can offer them. Educate the merchant about the industry and take a consultative approach. I tell this to anyone I train, whether it's our inside sales reps, outside sales reps, like yourself. You want to be educating these merchants. There's a lot of stuff that's very confusing in our industry. Even, look, I've been here for over 8.5 years. There's things that still just, I'm like, where is this coming from? Our industry is just full of those types of scenarios. The better understanding you have of those things, the better way you can actually explain them to your merchants. Merchants don't know the ins and outs. They are completely blind to what's going on behind the scenes, and it's not their fault at all, but it's your job to educate them and take a consultative approach. That's going to be a much better experience for them versus the person who's calling them on the phone and just saying, oh, I can beat your rate, or, I can get you a terminal for free. That's just basic level selling. Take it 10 times further and really educate the merchant maybe on why you're recommending a certain solution or why you're recommending a certain pricing structure, whatever it may be. We've heard that a lot of other merchants, we've heard that a lot from other merchants, and here's what we can do. This just ties in that you are very experienced and you're used to dealing with a lot of different scenarios, shows the merchant that this isn't your first time. Don't get discouraged if you do not close a merchant after one sitting. These things take time and patience. You'll learn to know when a merchant is just not going to close versus when they simply need more time. Those merchants that need more time, give it to them. Don't be overly aggressive. If that merchant's just flat out knowing it is in saying no, 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 or they're just not giving you the time of day, take a step back, say, hey, not a problem. Here's my business card. If anything ever changes, feel free to reach out to me. I would then move that person way down on your list, maybe swing by or follow up 3-4 months afterwards just to see how things are going. But if you constantly just call and swing by that merchant's business, they're not going to be happy about it. They're going to keep telling you no. But if you take a step back and then just casually follow up, you at least have a better chance of getting into a conversation with them and seeing what you can do about helping them out. Closing the deal. Once you have finished presenting and have overcome every objection, the only thing left to do is close the deal. Assume the sale throughout the entire process. Ask for the business confidently. I don't care if it's your first merchant you're speaking to, your 100th or your 1,000th. You guys are going through a lot of training that we know is going to help you have confidence when you're going to these merchants. Use that when you're speaking to them. Let them know this is the best solution for their business. Some good quotes. Let's fill out an application so we can see all of this listed out for you on paper. Ask if you have answered all their questions. If a merchant needs to think about it, we can go into a close ending, which we've got a nice little scenario here for you. So if a merchant says they need more time to think about it, simply just say back to them, not a problem, I'll come back tomorrow. The merchant might then say, well, tomorrow doesn't work. Okay, how about later on this week? Merchant just simply says, yeah, okay. Keep going though. Great, how about Friday at 1? Next thing you know, the merchant says, oh, I usually focus on bookkeeping items after we close. Okay, how about Friday at 5? That works. Next thing you know, you took that merchant's objection of I need to think about it, and you actually solidified a follow-up time that works with that merchant. You don't want to just show up randomly on a Friday or a Thursday if they say later on in the week. Go until they give you a definitive time. If they just say, yeah, whatever, any time works, that's fine. Swing by whenever. But if you can narrow it down to a specific time, that's going to work out much better for you. Ask the merchant if you've answered all of their questions. If they say no, well, great, not a problem. What other questions do you have? Throughout your pitch, break it up. Don't just make it one long-winded pitch. You want it to be a back and forth to engage the merchant. So you can say, does X make sense? How does this sound to you? Does this sound like something that would work for you? These are all engaging questions to get the merchant to have a communication, a correspondence with you, but it also helps you realize, or excuse me, helps you find out if what you're pitching the merchant is actually hitting home or not. So that about covers it. If you have, for media assistance, definitely email your dedicated team at cbsupport@cayenne.com or call 800-528-0884. With that, I'll open it up to questions. I know a lot of folks usually wait until the end and then type out the questions. Looks like we have a couple already in there, so I'm going to address those, but feel free to fire off some questions. We'll definitely hang around for a little bit, give you guys some time to post these questions. So let me go through here and see what we've got. Pricing. Okay, good question. So pricing is always a tricky one. There's a lot of different pricing options. There's a lot of variables that go into credit card processing. So if you have a merchant who's already processing, you really want to pitch to get them to provide you with a couple recent months of statements. Forward that over to us here at Capital Bank Card. We can actually do a cost analysis for you, breaking down that statement so that you can actually go back to the merchant and tell them, here's what you're being charged, here's why you're being charged it, and here's what we can do to make that more cost effective for you. If it's a new merchant, we have a course, pricing out accounts, that we definitely recommend you take a look at. It's archived, or we do it about once a month, these live webinars. Go through that one. It's really going to help you understand pricing in our industry so that you can make the best recommendations for your merchants. What solutions can you offer? We've got tons of them. It's another one that I definitely recommend you take a look at. If you go to the CB headquarters website, under resources, or excuse me, under the equipment tab, there's a matrix that tells you all the different solutions that we can offer, or you can offer to your merchants. Anything from a physical terminal that plugs in, mobile solutions, wireless, e-commerce, whatever you can think of, we can set up a merchant with. With that, about the only questions that have been popped up so far, but again, I'll give everyone a few minutes to type out any other questions that they might have. All right, so it doesn't look like you guys have any questions. Hopefully that means I covered everything. But if you guys do come up with any other questions down the road or anything like that, again, please feel free to reach out, cbsupport@cayenne.com, or give us a call, 800-528-0884. Have a good day and good luck out there.